Welcome to Dub Life Diaries, the podcast where passion meets the open road. I'm Joe Person, your host, and also a lifelong dubber. Buckle up, because this ride is just beginning. This podcast is sponsored by Volksmania magazine. Good times, great cars, awesome Volksmaniacs. Visit Volksmania.com to learn more about this class-leading VW magazine. All right, welcome back to Dub Life Diaries. Today's episode is pure color. As you can see, it's everywhere. It's even on my shirt. Pure love and VW soul. I've got Levi and Sherry from Trippin Tie-Dye and the Social Mosaic, and they are what I say is the real deal. Musicians, artists, lifelong Volkswagen people whose story runs from a $775 Super Beetle to a now community-built tie-dyed masterpiece called Owsley the Beetle. This story is going to be packed with all of it. We're talking about heartbreak, hurricanes, community magic, and the kind of love story that only happens when two VW hearts collide. Levi and Sherry, welcome to Dub Life Diaries.
Thank you, Joe. We're happy to be here.
You are so welcome. Before we get going, I do want to just give a shout out real quick to my sponsors. First up is you guys. Man, you guys sent me this shirt for this episode. How cool. I kind of had that thought. I'm like, wouldn't it be cool if I had them come on the podcast and I had one of their shirts to record in? So thank you guys for hooking me up. I really appreciate it. First up as the sponsor is Volksmania magazine. You guys know how I feel. I feel these guys are the flyest VW magazine on the face of the planet. It's the quality, it's the people that make the brand just like it is for our community. Volksmania.com. Use DubLife10 at checkout. That's DUBLIFE, the number 10 at checkout. Get you 10% off your subscription. Also, shout out to Salty Dub. From the beach to the bay, Salty Dub is tearing up the coastal VW scene. Now, that's not just here locally. That's coastal, meaning coastal climates all over the world. So pretty cool to see what Salty Dub is doing, especially some of the events and some of the swag they have. Check those guys out, saltydub.com. Same discount code applies. It's DubLife10. Get you 10% off your merch. Last up, right here on my hat, if anybody can see it, my buddy Chris White, Riverbank Customs. Shout out to Chris and the team over at Riverbank Customs. These guys are all about the VW community. Some really stand-up folks. Go check these guys out on YouTube, Riverbank Customs. All right, guys, back to you guys. Thank you. Back to you. I guess let's do this kind of broken up. I'll ask maybe Levi some questions, and then I'll have some questions for you, Sherry. But these first couple, let's just kind of hit these off together, maybe more conversational. What's the vibe like today where you guys are joining from?
It's chill. It's a beautiful day. We live out in the woods, so we enjoy all the quiet time we get out here, and then we make a lot of noise in our studio. So it's a good day.
Where exactly are you guys for the listeners?
We are in McHenry, Mississippi. We're about 26 miles north of Gulfport.
Okay. So now we can envision on the map where you guys are at. So I guess maybe give the listeners a short version of who Levi and Sherry are, what Trippin Tie-Dye is, and maybe even what the Social Mosaic is all about.
Levi and I have been together for about, 28 years. He was already tie-dyeing. I was playing music at a college. He was in a rock band.
Oh,
so
cool.
When we met,
you got the rock star.
I don't know about all that.
You got the rock star. That's cool.
Yeah, but we met. I loved tie-dye, and when I met him, I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And then we got to talking about Volkswagens, and then it went from there, and we've been tie-dyeing and playing music ever since.
So the Social Mosaic, is that your band? Is that a group?
It's the name that we go by musically, but it's also a project that incorporates other musicians and artists and local businesses, so that we can all help each other move forward.
Yeah, cool,
But,
man.
Levi can describe that better.
Well, creativity happens wherever there's a collaboration and people that are kind of willing to fall down. That's what it is that I wanted to create. It sometimes it goes well, sometimes it Sometimes it goes well.
There you go. I like what you said though, because I think the part of success really is being willing to jump, being willing to leap. So like kind of like you said, being willing to fall. Yeah, I agree. That's where creativity comes from. It's from those accidents, from those that are willing to push and try. So good stuff. Good stuff. You guys both kind of radiate this like VW energy. I don't know if it's the giant 5 foot wide VW logo behind you but realistically, I want to hear this from both of your perspectives. What does the VW community mean to you guys individually, personally?
Well, with me, I've always been kind of like the odd one out, like a black sheep. And so whenever I got around people that enjoyed Volkswagens as much as I did, I kind of felt connected. It's like a family, basically. Everybody wants to look out for you. People go out of their way to help you, and it's amazing.
It's what used to exist in the rock and roll community. All of those people helped each other along because they wanted it to exist, and that was more important than their own well-being. And
Wow.
everything that was great was created because of that. And it's really odd because the music scene really doesn't work like that. But for some reason, Volkswagen people do. And it's beautiful.
It really is.
Dude,
It's a cool thing.
If your car is broke, a Volkswagen person will absolutely help you fix it just to see it run. And that's rare in people these days.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. No doubt. Okay. Well, I mean, I think that's pretty awesome. So Levi, let me dig in on you just a little bit. Let me ask you just a couple of questions. I know you grew up around Volkswagens, right?
Yeah, all my life. There's always been one somewhere.
Oh, look at that. We got a picture of him probably what, 5, 6 years old, standing on split window bus.
Yes.
So what was maybe some of your earliest memories, whether it be either working on them or cruising in one, or like what was some of your first VW memories, Levi?
Well, that bus, that was my uncle's bus, and I lived in it with him off and on for forever.
Wow.
He went to Vietnam and he came back and he was kind of couldn't do people, so he stayed out in Kisatchie in that van, and I spent a lot of time with him. Wow, I don't know, man. That's just there's never been a time when there wasn't one around.
Well, I mean, yeah. So since before you can really remember, right? Because then obviously since you can remember, Volkswagens have been there in your life, which is super cool. Was there maybe then a particular car or like you said, this bus? Was it something that kind of stood out that made you look back at it now and say, damn, yeah, it's always been Volkswagens? Is it like since something, or is it just because it's just always been there?
I think it was that bus, but it's his attitude, generally speaking, because people who own Volkswagens work on the Volkswagens, and because of that, you don't need anything from anybody. You need gas, really, just to kind of get on your way, and I think that's cool.
Yeah,
And I've
heck
always thought that was cool.
yeah.
Let me just do it myself, and I'll do my thing over here. I feel like that's the Volkswagen attitude.
There's a lot of do-it-yourselfers in this culture for sure, and you're right. There is a lot of that feeling, but there's also a lot of support. I feel, maybe if somebody has a disability or something and they can't be that mechanical or something, I feel like the community's there anyway. So yeah. So Sherry, let me ask you a couple questions. Your first car was a '73 Super Beetle, right?
Yes.
Tell me just a little bit about that story and what that car maybe represented to you as a teenager, just getting their first car.
Okay. Well, my entire life, well, like since I was about 4, my favorite Matchbox car was a Volkswagen Beetle. I loved Beetles, and it was like a dream that I would even own one. So, my parents weren't really big onto me getting a a Volkswagen, but I was saving up my money for my part-time job. I took a city bus to the mall, and we drove past this Volkswagen that was for sale, and he had 800 bucks on it, and I was like, "That's gonna be my car." So I got home, I got my dad, and I was like, "Let's go look at this car. I want it." It needed floor pans, it needed a lot of stuff. I didn't care. It went home with me, and what was funny, though, is my dad was he he took it for a drive, and he said, "Absolutely not. We're gonna get rid of this. No way." So he drove it to this mechanic shop down the street, and they were like, "You don't want to sell it. This is a great car." And he was like, "Okay." So we worked on it together. We fixed the floor, we painted it. So it was kind of a project for me and my dad. And man, it was a dream. It was just a dream.
So fast forward a little bit, in your life now, when Levi and you met, and he mentioned, 28 years plus, right? He mentioned that he had a VW. What ran through your mind as the same, background in life? I don't know if it had come up in conversation yet, but when it did, were you like, I don't know, like maybe tell me what ran through your mind when you found out he was also a VW guy?
Well, to be honest, he didn't have a Volkswagen. What happened was he was walking me out to my car, and I had one of those, like, it was a '93 Honda Civic, and he looked at it and he said, "Wow, that reminds me of a Volkswagen Beetle." And I was like, "Man, I wish it was a Volkswagen Beetle." And that's just where it happened. And he started telling me all his Volkswagen stories, and I was like, "Yeah, tie-dye, music, Volkswagens, this is it."
That's it. That's it. That's it. Awesome. All right, so let's go back to both of you now. And no pressure. If one of you wants to, scream out an answer, or both of you, or let's talk about this 66 Beetle. How'd you guys come across this Beetle, and maybe talk about what made this Beetle special?
Well, we we weren't together for very long. Lily was still a baby, so it was probably maybe 99 when we bought. We lived in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and we were driving around. I don't even know what we were doing. It was so long ago, and there was this Volkswagen Beetle, and it was in front of this house for sale, and they wanted what, like $1,300 for it, and we were like, "Wow, look how beautiful." It was all original except for the engine, and it was in solid shape. Of course, it wasn't running. We had to bring it somewhere and have some work, and then we worked on it for quite some time. But yeah, his aunt helped me buy it, and then there I was on the road to working on a Volkswagen again. And then that became our daily driver for quite some time.
Was it a 6 volt, or you said upgraded the engine? So did they upgrade it to a 12 volt too?
Yeah.
because they didn't do it well, and for that reason, it had electrical problems. But it
Oh.
was stuff that it was easy to figure out. At least
Yeah.
it was a wonderful little, I don't know, companion.
It was. I loved it.
Heck yeah, man. They're all a vibe. I was saying a second ago, I've got a 62 6 volt. So let's talk about some of this loss that you guys went through, because I feel like, I actually connect to this, because last year here we had the 2 hurricanes that came through the Gulf Coast, and really wiped us out. The first one was flooding, the second one was wind, but you guys lost 2 buses, right? Or did you lose 1 bus? 2 buses in Katrina, right?
Well, yeah, but it wasn't. Yeah, I guess it kind of was. Yeah, it was 2 buses. We had a transporter bus and a Westphalia.
Okay, so a camper and then a hard top or a tin top.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you lost them in Katrina. Like, maybe describe that for me. What'd that feel like emotionally?
Well, it's a little devastating because the tin top, you called it, I call it the transporter. It was Levi's bus all the way. It screamed Levi. And we had some trouble with the engine. It came with dual Webers, and we just couldn't get it right. But then we bought this Westie for $500 out of Gulfport, Mississippi.
Dang, y'all. You need to go
And
start looking for some deals when I'm ready to buy. I'm going to come to you guys.
shoot, this was what, 20 years ago?
Yeah.
And it ran, it was solid, but we had some issues. And then it was after Katrina, we had to kind of move and sell our house, how everybody had to kind of move around and change their lives.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
That just happened really to our coast, West Coast, Central Florida. Like I said, in those last year hurricanes, even my own family was affected. My brother was displaced. He had a waterfront property in Madeira Beach. They got like almost 60 inches of water in the living room, which is 5 feet. I mean, that's like wow. My father-in-law lost his cars, lost his Harley, because we all did what we normally do, which is weather the storm and batten down the hatches and,
Hmm.
essentially stay. But, certainly probably not the best choice in this case. So storm two, we were like, nah, we're out, right? So everybody leaves then. And then evacuating was crazy. It was like, I'll never forget this. We went up to St. Augustine, and the drive up, they had opened up the emergency lanes on the sides of the freeway, and they had all these signs everywhere. So cars are, cruising probably 25, maybe 15 to 25 miles an hour. And like, so all 5 lanes of traffic, then the 2 emergency lanes, all going in one direction. It was like, dang, man, this looks like Stephen King's The Stand or something. It was wild, dude. Wild for me to go through that. And then to come back after storm two, you guys know this feeling if you come back after a big storm. I couldn't believe the amount of trees that were down all over town. It was like, what? Like we'd never seen that before. I'm born and raised right here in St. Pete. I'm 48 years old. I've never seen anything like that as far as how many down oak trees and then, obviously cleanup starts. But man, what a emotionally charged moment, and then especially to lose a couple buses. So you guys kept the titles to these buses, right?
Yeah, they just happened to stay in my paperwork, and I came across them, not too long ago. I was like, dang, man, it. I don't know why. It's just, you get a Volkswagen, it's kind of part of you, I guess,
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I
that's
do.
probably why I kept them.
Yeah, no, that's cool. It's kind of like the proof, like, no, we had these. What years were they?
They were both 75s.
Yeah, good late year too. Awesome, bay window. So fast forward a bit then again, let's touch on tie-dye. For both of you, when did it become more than a craft? When did it like maybe turn into, whoa, like we're onto something here? Maybe even a lifestyle.
This is more for Levi, see, because he was already tie-dyeing and doing that before I met him, so
I don't think he came at me like that. I was playing guitar, and because I was playing guitar, I needed money real bad, and I had this skill, so I pursued it. When we got together and we had kids, and that's just as bad. When you have kids, you need money, so
We sure
you
do,
know.
man. And like a
Uh,
lot of it.
yeah, and it never stops. So, like people never stop asking you for money. We did a stint there, like when we first met, we tried to make it work, but Katrina just kind of made everything goofy. So what, 15 years ago, maybe
yeah.
16 years ago, we took it up and we started taking it serious again. And
Yeah, we didn't want real jobs because real jobs were murdering our souls. And then we realized, if we could do something ourselves, let's get back to this tie-dye. And we did it, and we had a little setup, and then we just kept doing that. I think we went full time on tie-dye in 2014, roughly, and we were playing music as well through that time.
When I was looking at your backstory, just trying to come up with this outline, I had noticed that you had said it took you guys, or maybe it took you, Sherry, I don't know, but it took one of you or both of you about 2 years to actually learn how to do the VW emblem. Can we touch on that and maybe teach me what that process looks like? Overview. 2 years is a long time.
It is a long time, and it's great because, I was like, "Well, all of this stuff is converging in life, all this stuff that I love, Volkswagens, tie-dye, music. I would love to make a Volkswagen tie-dye. That would just be the best." And, yes, the best, the best.
yeah.
So we would buy these little, like, towels at Sam's, these little flour sack towels, and we'd have old T-shirts or whatever, and I'd sit at a table and I would draw it out. I kept thinking like how I make peace signs, but I had to think outside that box, and it took me a while. And one day I'm sitting there and I'm sitting at my desk with this piece of fabric, and Levi said something to me. He said something about, why don't you think about the empty space? And I was like, oh. So then real quick, I folded it up. I ran outside into the tie-dye lab. I threw some, and this is not our process at all. I ran outside and I threw some dye on it, and I sat there for a minute. I was like, I'm just gonna open it and see if it worked. And I opened it and it worked. And I was like, ah, ran through the house. I was like, I got it, I got it, I got it. So from then on, that's been like my sole focus. And even now we're more like, Volkswagen shows, making the Volkswagen tie-dye.
Yes. So let's touch on that quickly on the shows. How did the Volkswagen community first respond? Because I know when I see the really cool tie-dyes at a show, I'm like, thank God they're here. But honestly, and I'm not just saying this, I don't really recall any time in my life, in my past, ever seeing somebody that's got the logo down this good, or really just some of the stuff that you guys do. I've kind of been checking you guys out. Man, you guys got the tie-dye game down pat, that's for sure. Yeah, that's pretty awesome though.
That was the tipping point. After she did it, it's one of those like, well, since I can do this, I can do anything. And after a Volkswagen, it's like, well, we can do anything now, and that's kind of how it's true.
Yeah, people.
So
and
the
as far as the
community, yeah,
Volkswagen community, man, I mean, Volkswagen people are just nothing but nice,
right?
and they love us, and so I guess we can love them back.
Yeah, but what was such a trip is we went to a new show this year. It was in Tannehill.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Folks Jam. It was so awesome. And it was great because it was a new
Adam
place.
Simpson?
We didn't really know. Go ahead.
Is that Adam Simpson?
Yes.
Yeah.
What
Super,
a great
super
guy.
amazing person. Yes. Yes.
He's super cool.
Yeah.
But I walked up to him and I was like, are you Adam? He was like, yeah. And then there were people around him that were like, you're Trippin Seed. You came. I was like, I don't even know these guys. This is awesome. They knew who we were.
Yeah, I'd say that's open arms for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful place up there. Really super nice people.
Yeah.
While we're touching on shows, is there one that you've attended, maybe aside from Tannehill, that may have stood out the most over the last couple of years?
Aside from the one where they gave me a car.
Well, we're going to talk about that one.
We'll get to that one, but we got to say this other one Levi brought to my attention was in Niceville, Florida.
Oh, man, that was awesome. It rained, and it sucked, and everybody was just like, well, you want a beer? and it just didn't matter.
At first they were like, we're gonna cancel, and we're like, oh, okay. So we're just sitting there, and then they were like, we're just gonna hang out. And I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna set up our get up and see what happens. And even though they couldn't have a show that day, they were still being so super supportive and helpful. That blew my mind. But
if that's the bad day everybody wants to have.
Yes.
Where it's like, okay.
Yeah, it's like somebody going fishing and saying they're having a bad day. I'm like, you're fishing though.
Yes, exactly.
Is there such thing as a bad day, right? Like, you're now I know you guys, you donate a lot, right? You've donated merch to different VW clubs. I know certainly up in the Gulf Coast region. Just touch on why giving back's important to you guys.
Well, with me, it's always just wanting to give a hand to any organization that may need all of our help. The Humane Society being very near and dear to our hearts because we have a kid who's going to vet school and we were going and volunteering and stuff at the Humane Society. Huh?
That's awesome to hear. My daughter, my 19-year-old, was originally interested in becoming a vet, and it was her whole childhood. She worked around horses and all this stuff. And then just had a little bit of a change of heart. Still loves animals, still trains dogs and all that good stuff, but she went and got her cosmetology license in Florida, so she's a, cosmetologist. But yeah, I I resonate with that a little bit. I kind of love animals big time myself. So that's cool that
Mhm.
you guys do that.
Well, Levi probably has more to say because he's like the mastermind of all philanthropy.
That came to be real simple. I used to just give people the shirt off my back because I made them, and people would be like, "Hey, man, that's a cool shirt," and I'd take
You
it off
want
and
it?
give it to them.
Yeah, right? Like,
There you
wow,
go.
that's super cool, man.
The reason why I did it is because a long time ago, somebody was having a really bad day, and I just gave him my shirt. 10 years later, that girl was like, "You," and she remembered. And
Wow.
it's funny because in the world you see terrible things happen all the time. But if somebody gives you their shirt, that sticks with you, and I think that's hope in a way.
Man, that's special. Special to hear that, man. That's awesome. So let's touch on the music side of it. How does the music fit in? Now, do they merge? Does the music and the tie-dye kind of inspire a sound or completely separate?
It does, but see, we go in that direction. She's a classically trained, yeah,
Yeah.
she's a classically trained flute player, and I'm a blues player, and so we can cater her to Sherry, and I don't mind. That's all chords and it's all fancy music, but I feel more like this. Everything's all dirty and distorted, kind of like Jimi Hendrix. It's raunchy, but she can go there now.
Yeah, we use a lot of tie-dye in our videos and stuff, so we put tie-dyes behind us and, of course, wear it. We're writing music and then trying to come up with ideas of what kind of art to put on a backdrop, so it kinda feeds the creativity.
Very, very cool. Let's touch on the social mosaic as I guess as a bigger picture. What's the mission? And I don't know, how do you two maybe create art, music? Is it together? Is it separate? Yeah, just kind of help me out, help me visualize that for social mosaic.
Okay. Well, we both work together to make the tie-dye. I fold and he dyes, and in music, we're always working together, but he's got a deeper thought.
What I would like to see is I would like to see the kind of community that exists with Volkswagen people with music.
Ooh,
And it's people who just wanted to see it like stay alive because the industry kind of it imploded, and now there's not anybody who's really putting time into going and living on the mountains so that they can break back the truth, so to speak. I mean, it's happening, but you're not hearing it. It's it's not in the mainstream, and it's because people don't care about it in that way, and they probably should. And that's ironic because people who drive Volkswagens totally have that attitude. And if people who played music had that attitude, we would be rediscovering a band like Tool or Pink Floyd like every 2 or 3 years, and that would just sustain. I don't know. I'd like to see that exist. All of those projects came out of that kind of a mentality of people just helping each other.
yeah, and
I don't,
I vibe with that too, as a whole for the VW community and just kind of big picture, I guess. And I think maybe we try. We're like here trying to celebrate, right? The lifestyle, the culture. Here's the thing, and I know it's kind of more of a sad truth than really anything is, the real culture and the real heart and the real soul, it exists through what we're willing to keep around, right? Like the ones that created this and cut this path for us, sadly, they're starting to die off and they're starting to really not have the same level of energy maybe at one point that they did. So it's up to us, I guess, right? It's up to us to keep this. So I'm gonna jump right in there with you and say let's hope. Let's keep that hope and that dream alive that that you guys are doing now. We're doing it now.
You know, I have an analogy for that, and I think it applies to everything. I think. A long time ago there were cowboys, and the original cowboys were slaves. That's what they were. And then the next generation of cowboys, well, those people were outlaws. Those people were criminals, and they couldn't have anything else to do, so they became cowboys. And that spirit represented freedom. So the next generation of cowboys was actually conservationists. That was, Buffalo Bill and Bill Hickok, and the point was to preserve this idea of freedom. And somewhere in that, it becomes contorted, because if you fast forward to like the 70s, you get J.R. Ewing, and it distorts the idea of the cowboy. But see, the actual cowboy still exists. And you kind of want to believe that. I want to believe that about like Volkswagen owners, or like the real musicians and people who are always going to go to bat, and they're just going to do it because it needs to be done.
Right.
And I believe in those people.
I like that
It
analogy.
parallels oddly with what you were saying.
It does. I like that analogy. It was good. Biggest pinch me moment from a show, from maybe either performing, I know you guys do that too, or selling the tie-dye. I think we touched on that a little bit when you were like, oh, somebody saw us and said, hey, it's Trippin Seed, right? But any big pinch me moments in the last maybe couple years, last year?
Going to the Gulf Coast show and this car being under wraps and wondering why is there a car with a cover on it?
All right, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. We're here. We're at the story. So we're at Buggin' the Beach 2025. So tell us the story leading up to this event, right? You had no idea this surprise was coming to you.
No clue. None whatsoever. I was getting ready for this show like we do every show. We make a bunch of tie-dyes. We make sure that we're all stocked up, get it all packed down. I had a couple of phone calls from the club, just asking questions, about other vendors. I mean, they all knew that, of course, I was going to be a vendor. I'm not going to miss the show, But we got there, and it was just like we've worked it every time, because we've worked this show several years since they moved it. But yeah, I didn't even notice there was a car with a cover on it until later, when when we were at the show for a while and things start to calm down. I like to go around, take pictures, and look. And I was like,
sure,
Levi, there's a car over there that got a cover on it. I have to see what's going on. So,
like a moth.
Yeah, and they did post something on Facebook where they posted a video of somebody driving a Bug, and they were like, there's going to be a big surprise. And I was like, oh man, I bet Mike built a car for another charity, because he gave away a car the year before for, colorectal cancer. And so I was like, he's up to something. So I wonder what he's doing now.
So what was describe the unveiling moment then.
Well, this is okay. At the end of the show, they were going to be giving away awards. So we were listening to the awards, and that's usually when we start kind of cleaning up our tent and kind of packing down slowly. We're not going to miss the end of the show. And so Mike, who built the car, his wife came to my tent, and she was kind of looking around, and I was like, Tammy, what's the deal with this car over there? And then she just left. It's like she didn't want to answer the question. I was like, I wonder what's going on. Well, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 minutes later, they called my name. Sherry Peckens, will you come up front, or come to the tent? And I looked at Levi, and I was like, what is this? But the whole time I'm walking up there, they're talking about all the stuff that we did. And I was like, why are they talking about us like this? I mean, because, this is just what we do. It's not, it's not something huge that we celebrate. We just do these things. We donate to the clubs because they're raising money for charities. We give our time to organizations that we love, and we want to help the people around us that we love. So, when they started talking about, well, she's done this with the Humane Society, and then I turned around, I was like, well, Levi. So I called Levi up there too. And we're both standing there, and all of a sudden, Mike says, well, Sherry, you deserve this. We have a car for you. And at that moment, everything disappeared. I was like, what? You know, and I can go back. They posted a video. I go back and watch the video, and it's hard to even remember what happened with all the people and all the words. And, and then we walked over to this thing. All the presidents of the coast clubs was Pensacola, New Orleans, and Biloxi. And they all grabbed the corners and they lifted it up, and I freaked. Totally freaked. I mean, it had the artwork of a tie-dye that I had just sold to Mike. He did that by hand. He put our band logo, which is where we met Mike, playing music in Ocean Springs. And I didn't even know what to say. And Levi was behind me in the video, and his jaw was just dropped.
Actually, there's like a little story inside of that bigger story, and that's that when you were just like shocked because somebody gave you a car, and this dude walks up and he goes, "Man, I know you're all into the car and stuff, but can I buy this?"
He had a tie-dye. We left our tie-dye tent.
He's like, let's get back to business. Right.
It was great. Levi was like, why don't you just keep the shirt, dude?
So you guys talk about Mike. I take it this is Mike Schillinger.
Yes.
Can you maybe describe the kind of guy that he is? I mean, I think this is pretty awesome, but I remember a quote that you had given me where he had said something really kind of profound to you about how you are a part of this community. You know, maybe just tell me what kind of guy he is and maybe what that comment meant to you.
Well, it's a trip because when we met him, it was years ago. We were playing music and he had this purple Volkswagen bus. And I was like, oh man, and the name of the bus is Purple Haze. And he was driving.
Right, hippie, let's go, buddy.
Yes, we saw him at Cruising the Coast, and he had his bus, and he had a Harry Potter car, and we just hit it off because, of course, Volkswagen. So, we just, every time we see each other, it's like we've been friends our whole life. I mean, he's a funny guy. He's hilarious, and he will help anybody. And he was already working on another Volkswagen, but when I met him, and so we got to talking about, Volkswagens and stuff, but the comment happened last year. It was Bug in the Beach 2024, and that's when he was giving away the colorectal car. And I wanted this car so bad. I bought tickets. And then for the show, we made a bunch of blue ribbon tie-dye t-shirts, and we gave them to his wife, and we were like, sell them all off. Give the money to this charity, just let's make this show about this, right? So when we got there and we got the tent set up, I said, Levi, I got to go look at this car because I'm going to win it. Of course, I didn't win it, but anyway, I went over to look at it. It was a 73, like my first car. And man. I was like, look at this. I love this. I was like, oh, I hope I win it, Mike, because he was polishing it, I was like, man, Mike, I hope I win it. I'll be part of the community again. And he just stopped me. He looked at me and he said, Sherry, you're already part of the community. And, it almost brought tears to my eyes. I mean, it's just sometimes people's humanity is what other people need,
I do. And then to touch on that even more, I know it kind of surprised you as you approached this vehicle and you notice now, I say vehicle, this Beetle, and you notice now that there are a lot of small added personal touches, right? Like your band logo, paw prints, all that type of stuff. How'd that feel? Just, it was almost like the gift that kept giving, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, totally. And then the door panels are tie-dye,
Sick.
The headliner is tie-dye. And it's funny because he wanted to use one of our tie-dyes for the headliner. And he was like, but I couldn't cut up that art. I was like, oh man. I'm like, that's all right, because we have some tie-dyes that we can put in there. So that's probably, something we're going to do in the future. But it blew my mind. And he just kept telling me things. I mean, he kept trying so hard. He just handed me keys to a car, and then he started to tell me the things about it. And I was trying to listen, but I was
Right.
looking at it in
Like,
the paw
wait.
prints
Right.
and the logo and the bear, just the bear on the hood of the car, and then we walked around the back and the tag said tie-dye. I have it hanging up here, tie-dye on it. And I was just like, Levi, look, it's our bear. Levi, look, it says tie-dye. It was amazing. And they also put a little vase in there with a yellow flower, and he said that stands for friendship.
Yep.
And then he put a penny in the ashtray, and he said that was for luck. So
Wow.
I mean, he did all these little things that were just
Ah,
so cool.
for sure, for sure. Like no little things overlooked.
Yep.
What an amazing feeling for sure. How has owning Owsley now changed the day-to-day life or maybe even the way that you connect with people at shows? Like you said, you're back. You're part of the community again, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's a blast. We drove him to Volkswagen,
Oh,
and that was
I heard about
super
that.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. It's totally worth going to. There was like over 100 people there this year,
Awesome.
Volkswagens and food, and we have all these coon asses bringing the good food, from New Orleans.
Yeah.
If you
Amen.
drink, there's that as well.
Oh, there's lots to drink and games to play. I mean, it was really something. But driving Owsley there, that was the first Volkswagen event we drove him to so far. But
Do you guys have
having
do you guys have any plans for Owsley? Are you gonna keep him how he is? Or is there any mods or anything you're gonna look to change? Any shows you're looking forward to?
We're gonna change the headliner
yeah,
and put an actual bear there because we have it.
yeah,
Okay.
just some tinkering things. Some things don't fit quite as well, or we're put together pretty quick. So, I mean, Mike did build this car in a year from, nothing. And shout out to Paul Cave, because Mike Schillinger wrote an article about Owsley and Volksmania.
Yeah.
And it,
I saw that.
it really came a long way.
Amazing.
So,
So cool. What
I
a
like it the
very
way that
cool thing to happen.
yes.
Say that again, Levi?
Well, I like it the way that it is. It's all hokey and wrong, but it's the right car. That's how it's supposed to be.
Exactly
It's
right.
if it was perfect, I wouldn't be driving it.
That's the thing. That's the thing. When he gave us the keys and we were looking at it, I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's perfect!" And Mike was like, "Sherry, it's not perfect." I said, "It's so perfect to
Right.
me." I mean,
Yeah.
There's things that don't fit quite right. There's, the door rubber is still not pushing closed very well, but I every day I get in that car, and we smile and we laugh, and the people that wave and honk their horns at us, I mean, it is so cool.
It for sure is. That's a feeling that unless you own one, it's almost impossible to describe because you truly get to see how an automobile creates joy in people. Whether it's a
Mhm,
story they're telling you about from their childhood, or, oh, my girlfriend in college had a car like that, or just always something, right? There's always a story with it. So I think
mhm.
that's the amazing part for sure.
Yeah.
Levi, I got a question for you. How do you balance art, family, business, and music?
I don't. I fail. I fail, and I just hope that people are cool with that.
Okay,
That's a good answer.
it is a good answer, man. I'll take it because you have to be willing to fail in order to ever succeed, right? How
Yeah.
about how about for Sherry then? Sherry, what drives your creative energy?
Being here, being my home with the nature, with forests, with I'm not even using English correctly, with just nature and being home and having the need to create. you know, I've always needed to create from, you know, my whole life. Just it's well-being for me.
Quality of life.
Yes.
Yes, love that.
Yes.
Levi, you got anything there on
I'm
quality of
still
life?
thinking about something that was kind of left out. See, I really like it when this happens. I think Mike Schillinger is obnoxious. He
Okay.
just is. He's just an obnoxious human being, right?
Right.
And what you would expect from a human being like that is for him to be a certain way. And then he gives you a car and you're like, no, that ain't right. And it's a humbling thing in a way that I like it when that happens because it resets your brain so that you don't judge people. And you know, people can be obnoxious and kind and people can be, you know,
Yeah, dude, that's like art, I feel like, you know, and maybe it takes an artist to see the world like that. But yeah, you almost have
yeah,
to
because
take the bad with the good.
it can love you and make you feel uncomfortable at the same time. It almost has to.
Yeah,
And Mike
man, killer.
Schillinger, man, he is that.
We love him.
I do. I love the guy. He's awesome.
So let's talk about advice maybe. What advice would you guys give to couples who want to build something and maybe even have a business like you guys do, maybe even in the Volkswagen community?
Listen, listen, listen. And, you know, don't dismiss all the ideas. Just listen and think and, you know, communicate. That's my best answer.
That's profound because there's a lot of people like Bill. That guy knows everything about everything. He just does. And to not listen to a man like that is absurd.
You're talking about Wild Bill?
Yeah, man. I
Wild
mean,
Bill from Pensacola. He's the Volkswagen
he
guy.
knows everything about everything, and you know, he's the man. And it's cool because the Volkswagen community is filled with people like that, and
Amen.
for people to show up and act like they know stuff when you're surrounded by people like that, that's
I vibe with that, and I'll tell you that's the reason solely that I started this podcast is because I was at almost it's just the end of my patience of dealing with how many people I've met that are just as awesome as you can possibly be as a mechanic, as an artist, as a musician, as a whatever they do. These VW people, man, they're special. And, you know, I'm like, you know, this idea came to me even a couple of years ago. I'm like, somebody needs to celebrate the people of this community, you know, and it just didn't come together yet. Me and my buddy keep working on, you know, a few events that we do down here and everything. But yeah, finally about October or November of last year, I was like, you know what? I'm going to start a podcast that celebrates the artists, the people, the craftsmen, and just the everyday folks of the Volkswagen community because there's always a story and it's always deep and it's always connected. And I feel like there's a lot of soul in this opportunity. So that's it, man. And again, that's why I did it. It's it's a very kind of it's
don't you question that though? It's a car, man. How does that make sense? All of that you just said is like spot on. You're right. And it doesn't matter because like Volkswagen people can be Nazis or they can be hippies. But either way, it's the same quality human being. And I don't get that. I don't understand why that exists where there's this car,
I
but it
know.
can't exist around music or art or politics.
Or Corvette.
Or Corvette, yeah, Corvette.
Right.
People that own Corvettes are
Yeah,
dicks.
so look, man, like we could probably talk about this forever, but I feel like it's it's what the community of Volkswagen people are attracted to, and I think it's the lack of judgment overall. I think the big picture is this is a community where it doesn't matter what color or what ethnicity or what country or what it doesn't matter any of that matters. It's this togetherness and this acceptance because everybody, you know, they all trick out their cars different ways. You know, there's the purists and there's the lowriders and there's the, you know, and everybody has like a different vibe. There's the beachy ones, there's the classy ones, there's the ones that are, you know, rat rods with metal interior and the ones that are all pretty and gushy. And but here's the cool thing. at a show or even at, you know, a ride, so to speak, there's no judgment. And I feel like to talk on what you guys said, I feel like I've even been to Corvette shows, Mustang shows, where it ain't the same. There's a whole lot of judgment. And if you pull up and it's too low, or if it's too loud, or if your top's down and it should have been up, or if it's white and it should have been black, like, it's like, man, it's crazy to see the type of judgment that exists outside of the Volkswagen community. So that's it, man. I'm not going to steal any more thunder, but that's why I feel like the community is so attractive to people, because it's the lack of judgment.
Yes.
Well, wow, that's going to set off a whole series of like, I never arrived at that place, but you're right. And it's funny because why can't that exist with like Corvette? We're picking on Corvettes, and I don't
It could
like
be.
that.
Yeah,
It could be.
let's pick on something else. Let's pick on the Camaro.
Okay.
Oh, man, I'm picking Camaros. Why can't they appreciate the genius that, you know, some dude needed to fix this, and this is what he had, like a Coke bottle and a piece of string, and he did that 10 years ago, and it's still like that.
Right.
I don't understand why a Volkswagen guy can look at that and go, "Wow, dude, that is genius," and a Camaro guy just like can't.
Yeah.
Do they not have a sense of humor, or what is it? Was the initiative to find like original solutions or something? I don't know. I don't know what it is.
I think it's
But
close.
I've never equated that to judgment. But that's an interesting. I'll be
That's
thinking about
profound,
that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's touch here. What's next for Trippin' Seed?
Volkswagen shows.
That's what
I'm trying to really focus. We're really trying to change our business model because we're kind of getting a little old. We're trying to do more online, trying to get more, exposure online, orders online, but hanging on to the Volkswagen shows, as many as we can make it to. The ultimate would be to get down there for that, for Bug Jam. That would be something. But
Yeah, we just went through it just a couple weeks ago, and we've got some shows here that you guys, one of them for sure that you guys would love, and we would love you too. But V-Dubs on the Pier is downtown St. Pete, right to the left side of, if you're facing it, the St. Petersburg Pier, which is an iconic location. But it's right in the middle of downtown, and it's crazy. It's very expensive, the permits and the time and all of that we have to apply for and qualify for and pay the city, etc. It's all worth it when there's 200 cars sitting out there, and these, by the way, you can't get your car out there unless it's some type of a special event or something. So the pictures and everything are crazy, but we'd love to have you guys. That was the point.
oh,
Yeah, and
I'd love
Bug
to get
Jam,
down there.
you got to make Bug Jam at some point. To me, it's a vibe in itself. To me, it's probably one of the biggest, Volkswagen car shows I've ever seen, ever been a part of, ever been to. And it's only gotten better over the years. I mean, I go all the way back to the 90s when it was in Zephyr Hills, and, before it was at the location it's at, long before it was at the Dade City Fairgrounds, it was still a thing, even back into the early 90s. But I used to go the same thing. I'd show up and be like, wow, man, a lot of people have these old Volkswagens, like I didn't realize that it was, that big of a scene even back then. Man, it's way cool now. Definitely have to make Bug Jam if you ever can.
Oh yeah, I remember. I used to read about it in Hot BW's magazine whenever, in the 90s when I was, tinkering with my Volkswagen.
All
And
right.
another thing is too that I didn't mention earlier was the 66 that I had.
Mm-hmm.
We actually entered that in the Biloxi show down here. It was 2004, and we spray painted it. We spray painted the whole car because it started to get surface rust. We wanted to fix it anyway. I actually placed at that show.
See, no judgment.
Yeah, exactly. And it was under construction. It was awesome though, but I don't know. If I can get to it, if I can get to a Volkswagen show, I would really like to maintain working Volkswagen shows. I think that would be awesome. What?
Okay.
I just think you look at that all wrong, man. I'm proud of the paint job that we put on that car because it did it with a spray can.
We did.
It was magical.
It was beautiful. It really was.
And obviously it was to some other folks too, because it plays.
Yes. Yes.
All right, I got some rapid fire questions. These are like questions that would demand a fast answer, fast response. If a story evolves, cool, so be it. But if it doesn't, don't feel bad. We don't have to waste a whole lot of time on these. These are supposed to be straight to the point and fast. All right.
All right.
All right. We ready?
42.
Blue 42. All right. Favorite VW model of all time. Now, this could be one that you haven't owned or even one that you have. But what is your favorite model of all time?
All of them. What's yours?
Oh God, I don't know. I don't know if I can do that. I don't know what year it was, but the one that looked like the accordion thing with the top, I think those are so cool. I've
Like
seen
like a West
three of them.
camper, like a Westphalia
Yeah.
camper. So it's like mid 70s. I mean, they made, camper style like that, even all the way back, into the 60s. But I think for what you're talking about, the accordion looking Westphalia top.
No, well, you got the one where it opens like this, and then you got one that opens like this,
Yeah.
and
True.
it looks like an accordion thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I like how
The
you
sundial. I think
musical
that's
touch
who
on
made
it.
those.
Okay. All right.
Well,
Well,
sundials. I really like the sundials.
okay.
But a favorite one, man, I don't know. That's tough.
I know. I'm really digging the early 70s bugs, but the other day I saw a fastback and then I saw a squareback and then I
Like
saw
threes?
a thing. I'm sorry. That's a hard question.
A Volkswagen.
I'm just going to say all of them.
Yeah,
If
Okay,
they're
I'll
air
take it.
cooled.
I can take all of them. What,
yeah.
Sherry, what song, what music are we blasting if we're cruising in the Beetle?
46 and 2.
46.
46 and 2. I was listening to that the other day. I love Tool.
So Tool?
Yeah.
Okay, Tool. I'll take it. All right.
That wouldn't be Levi's answer though. He was talking about Zeppelin.
Fall music, man. It's a brown tone. It's like, dingy old like blues material. That vibe.
Okay. I
But
love that
I'm
vibe,
good
too.
with Tool.
What's messier? Tie-dye or acrylics?
Easy
Tie-dye.
Tie-dye. Okay.
Tie-dye for sure, especially if I'm dying. See, because usually I fold and then I go in there and dye, and Levi's like, "Oh my God, you made a mess." Yes, I make a mess.
I make a mess.
One word for each of you. Both of you get to answer it. One word that describes the VW community.
Kind.
Kind.
Kind. All right, both of us.
Yeah,
We're
that's-
kind. All right. If you could take Owsley anywhere in the world, where's the first stop?
Eugene, Oregon.
Or Asheville.
Asheville's
Eugene-
great. I've been to Eugene as well. Asheville's gorgeous. Different mountains, certainly different coastal, whole thing, but both pretty awesome locations.
Oh, yeah.
Eugene is. Oh, it was Ken Kesey's home. There would be no Owsley without Ken Kesey.
Yes. So Owsley originated there. We should drive Owsley to Eugene.
Drive him home.
Yes.
How about a dream guest musician, dead or alive, to collaborate with?
For me, it would be Dave Grohl.
Ooh, cool.
I'd be hip to collaborating with him. I mean, he plays everything. So it'd be like, oh wait, we need a drummer, Dave. Hey man, we need a bass player, Dave. We need some words here, Dave.
Damn.
What do you think?
Well, it depends. Like, see, I just like to just hang out with Willie Nelson because he's Willie Nelson. But like, in a practical sense, man, I think John Baptiste, because he can do anything, like anything imaginable. That guy understands it, and I think that he would want to hang out with somebody like me
Yeah.
that doesn't know anything.
Come on.
And he's from New Orleans, and I kind of dig that. So.
Yeah.
What color best describes life right now for both of you?
Green.
I'll take it.
Green. Green
Green's
is the
good.
best color. Yes, it is. I know. What a beautiful car you've got. I tried to incorporate both of your cars in that shirt.
Thank you. My Carmen Gia is my wife's. My favorite color green is forest green. So that car is my favorite color green. And I've always been green's always been one of my favorite colors of all different shades, and yeah, still is to this day. So this suits me probably way better than you ever imagined. Even though you just said, "Hey, what are the color of the cars?" It still showed up, and I'm like, "Come on, man, spot on." They hit it on the head, man. This is All right, last question I've got for you both, and we've done great, but I've taken enough of your time. All right, I want you to finish this sentence for me, each of you. All right, the VW community is
where I fit in.
I think the VW community is what's left of the spirit of America.
Ooh, damn, man, that needs to be a T-shirt, baby.
Hey, we're in the business.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah. So you guys, thank you guys so much. I feel like you guys are living proof that passion, that art, that community can build something obviously bigger than cars or even bigger than business. And you both said it. It's family. So from the heartbreak of Katrina to the surprise of Owsley the Beetle, you guys have turned tie-dye into a beautiful lifestyle. You guys go support Trippin Seed tie-dye. Listen to the social Mosaic. Keep spreading the VW love, because even though the energy might be off with Mike Schillinger, because that's what you said, you're still part of the community. So again, thank you guys. I appreciate your time. And that's a wrap for this episode of Dub Life Diaries. Thanks for riding along with us and diving into these incredible stories of the people in the dubs that drive their dreams. If you loved today's episode, don't forget to subscribe or hit that follow button so you never miss an adventure. Do you have a story to tell or know somebody else who's living the dub life? Awesome! Reach out to us. You can find us on all socials at Dub Life Diaries, or shoot me an email. I'm not hard to find. dublifediaries@gmail.com. Until next time, keep the engines humming and the wheels turning, and always follow the road that inspires you. This is Joe Person. I'm signing off. I'll catch you on the next ride.